Yeah, it was good to get out and kind of see. Obviously, I drove in Verano just one lap or two laps, I think we did, just to kind of feel the car. So
Barcelona, January 2025. The SF26 touches the asphalt for the first time. Lewis Hamilton climbs out after 212 laps, and the FIA immediately opens an investigation. Not into a crash, not into a penalty, into something far more dangerous. Because what if I told you that a driver who barely knows his car just forced the sports regulators to rewrite the rules? And what if the real victim isn't the competition, but the teammate who built that car in the first place? From the moment Hamilton took the wheel of Ferrari's SF26, the data told a story that nobody expected. 1 minute, 16.348 seconds. Fastest time of the test. But that number, that was just the surface. Because while Charles Leclerc worked through conservative runs, gradually learning the car's limits, Hamilton did something completely different. Tuesday, rain falls on Catalonia. Most teams retreat to the pits. Hamilton goes out, 57 laps, in the wet, alone. At first, Ferrari engineers thought it was just mileage, learning the car under low grip conditions. But the telemetry revealed something else entirely. Every single micro value from those wet laps matched the simulator projections perfectly. In wet conditions, on a car Hamilton had never driven before. The engineers looked at each other incredulous. This kind of correlation doesn't happen in testing. It doesn't happen this early, and it definitely doesn't happen under mixed conditions. But that was just the start. Because when they compared Hamilton's data to Leclerc's under identical conditions, identical setups, identical fuel loads, the gap was undeniable. 4 to 6 tenths, consistently, lap after lap. The explanation seemed simple at first: different driving styles, different approaches to a radical new car. Then, the FIA requested the raw telemetry data from car number 44. This wasn't a routine check. This was February, before the first official race, before teams had even finalized their designs. The FIA wanted everything: aerodynamic load modes, energy management systems, braking distribution, all 3 active aero modes. Because Ferrari, with Hamilton as the operator, had found something in the regulations. A gray area so precise, so perfectly exploited, that it forced the sport's governing body to intervene. Internal Ferrari sources revealed the truth. Hamilton wasn't just using the active aero better, he had helped design how the system should behave. At the FIA shakedown days before Barcelona, Hamilton proposed adjustments to the system's activation parameters. Part of the active aero control software was calibrated using his direct inputs. He wasn't adapting to the car, he was teaching the car to adapt to him. Turn 3 in Barcelona, sustained load, complicated exit. Most drivers pick one aero mode and commit. Hamilton used 3 in a single corner. Corner mode on entry to stabilize, intermediate mode before the apex, anticipating front tire overheat, X mode on exit to maximize straight line speed. Not corner by corner, meter by meter. That live decision-making, built on sensations, experience, and mental projection, separated the great from the exceptional. And the data proved it. While Charles Leclerc experimented progressively, still learning the car's behavior in each section, Hamilton was already alternating modes within individual turns. Medium and high-speed curves in Sector 2 told the story most clearly. Faster on traction, more stable under braking, higher constant speed through prolonged support areas. Ferrari engineers checked everything: downforce settings, tire pressure, brake balance. Identical. Identical ranges. The car wasn't different, the driver was. Some engineers tried to explain it away: different setup philosophies, gradual adaptation periods. But former driver Ralf Schumacher saw it differently. The car will be more nervous, and Leclerc can handle that. Hamilton needs stability at the rear. Except Hamilton wasn't struggling, he was dominating. Inside Maranello, the earthquake was silent but devastating. Wednesday night, engineering room, data review session. The graphs projected onto the screens were eloquent, undeniable. Hamilton's telemetry showed a surgical precision that validated not just his talent, but the entire SF26 concept. And that created a problem Ferrari never anticipated. Because Charles Leclerc had been the visible face of this project for years, he'd been key in the initial SF26 development. Now, engineers were quietly discussing customized setup versions for him. That meant doubling resources, dividing efforts, and accepting a brutal truth. The 2026 project already had a new technical reference: Lewis Hamilton. The FIA investigation added another layer of pressure. If the regulators redefined the active aero limits, Ferrari's current advantage could become tomorrow's handicap. But until then, one thing was clear. Hamilton hadn't just returned Ferrari to the top of the timesheets, he'd redefined what adaptation means in Formula One, not as a progressive phase, as an immediate act of dominance. Some engineers were already calling it the SF26's Hamilton drift, not with malice, but with surprise. Because many suspension geometry decisions, aggressive throttle mapping choices, and aerodynamic mode designs were made before Hamilton signed his contract, and yet he was the one who made them work. Scenario 1. The FIA investigation ends with minor clarifications. Hamilton keeps his technical advantage. Leclerc adapts. Ferrari dominates 2026 with a clear number one driver, exactly what they swore would never happen. Scenario 2. The regulations change. Ferrari's gray area closes. The SF26's edge disappears, and Hamilton's brilliance becomes irrelevant because the rules were rewritten specifically to stop him. Scenario 3. Leclerc never catches up. The internal tension fractures the team, and Ferrari learns the hardest lesson in motorsport, that unity is more difficult to maintain than speed. Has the FIA already decided Ferrari went too far? Or is this investigation just the beginning of a technical arms race that will define the entire 2026 season? And the question nobody at Maranello wants to answer: can Charles Leclerc survive in a car that evolves around someone else's driving language? One thing's certain: Barcelona wasn't just testing, it was a warning shot. If you made it this far, you already know. This season isn't about who's fastest, it's about who controls the narrative when the regulators come knocking. So tell me, did Hamilton just save Ferrari's season, or destroy it from within?